All right, the next step in our process is to put some dados into our side pieces. So you can see on the project plans, there's some dashed lines where the dados are. I've already set mine up for this 3 1/4 dado. Okay, so here's the dado. It's 3 1/4 between the blade and the fence. So I'm gonna make this dado first, and then I'm gonna go and make these two. All I've done is I've put 6 blades, so 2 blades and 4 chippers. That's 6 blades is 6/8. Remember, each of these is 1/8 of an inch. 6/8 simplified is 3/4. That's how thick our wood is. Okay, so that's what's going to let our wood sit in those joints. So I'm just going to push my wood up against the fence, and then I'm going to push it with the miter gauge, holding my wood down. The biggest thing is to hold your wood down as you're pushing this through, because sometimes, especially at the ends, it kind of pops up a little bit and then it doesn't fit. And then make sure that you also run both pieces. Okay. If there's a side of the wood that you really like with the grain, I want this to be my bottom. I like this side as my bottom. And this is going to be the outside edge. I don't know, I just like it. It's preference. It doesn't really matter. That dado. Next, I'm going to set this up for a rabbit. That looks good. I'm going to do a rabbit on the top here. Don't mess this up. Rabbit along the top. There's a little bit of frilly edge. Okay, that's fine. You just kind of clean that up by hand. Even sanding that, that's okay. The next one is 4 1/2 from the bottom of there. So that's 4 1/2 plus 3/4. So I need to set that up for 5 1/4. So 5 1/4. Way. I'm gonna check the front, check the front and the back to make sure that looks good. Okay, so now this is gonna be 5 1/4. I'm gonna run the rabbit at the top. Again, don't mix up your sides. Make sure you know which one you're running at all times. forgot how to set up these dado blades. I'm gonna go through it really quick. I turn my power off, take the throat plate out, put a piece of wood in here, a scrap piece of wood. Remember that nut is reverse threaded. And I need to make a 1/4 inch dado on the back side of my project. So I'm going to talk about that in a second because it's really important how you run these pieces now. As always, as it was earlier, running these other dados, it's really important that you do this on the back side. So I'm going to pull off my chippers. And I'm just going to put on my 2 dado blades. Again, my carbide teeth are going to face forward. They're going to spin this way. Put my washer on. Put my nut on. Again, it's reverse threaded. So it feels a little weird when you're screwing this on. Stick in there, push away to lock it in. Okay. And now this is going to be a dado on the back. And the reason we're doing this is so that the plywood doesn't stick out. Okay, we want the plywood nice and hidden so it doesn't look sloppy. This is going to help make like a clean cut. So this is going to be the same height. I'm not going to change the height of the blade. I just changed the width. Good. Okay, so this is where it becomes important. I want it on the back side. So I'm going to pick a back side. You probably want to put your pieces together. Okay, you're not going to make your dado cut here and here. You're going to make one on the left side, one on the right side. Okay, so put your pieces together. If you have a preference, you know, make your pick. Let's say, this piece is a little damaged on the back, so I'm going to make that my back side. And I'm just going to put a little X on there, so I know that X should sit against the fence here, so I don't mess this up. So it's going to go this way and this way. Okay, so those are my back sides. Turn the power back on. And now this I won't do with the miter gauge. I'm just going to push this through with hands, keeping my hands 6 inches away though. So now, this is my dado on the back side here. Okay, they'll match together nice and evenly. I would suggest doing all these cuts in the same day so somebody doesn't come and move the fence over and then one of your cuts is slightly off or something. Okay, so now my plywood will sit here, my shelf will sit in those gaps. That'll make a nice strong shelf for my pieces to sit on. And these sides are pretty much done until we start staining and polishing them. Those are the cuts that we need to make for the sides. So we move on to the shelves.